She's back here, Nick.
Hmm?
Oh, and he's got his doggy. I love to see his doggy.
Okay, I'm already coming up on one of them. Refresh this and see if I come up on it. Live. Okay, we're doing good. We're recording all the way. All right. Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Roger Paul, and tonight we're going to continue our study of the Urantia Book, and we're on paper 157 at Caesarea Philippi. And that's on page, boy, that's so small I can't even read it tonight. 15701 or 1743 in the original book. So if you're looking for it in the book, that's where you'll find it. Okay, let me switch slides here. And here we go.
It's small print.
That is small print. And put it down here. I can see it a little bit better. A little bit bigger. There we go. Paper 157 at Caesarea Philippi. Before Jesus took the 12 for a short sojourn in the vicinity of Caesarea Philippi, he arranged through the messengers of David to go over to Capernaum on Sunday, August 7th, for the purpose of this meeting of his family. By prearrangement, this visit was to occur at the Zebedee boat shop. David Zebedee had arranged with Jude, Jesus' brother, for the presence of the entire Nazareth family, Mary and all of Jesus' brothers and sisters. And Jesus went with Andrew and Peter to keep this appointment. It was certainly the intention of Mary and the children to keep this engagement, but it so happened that a group of Pharisees, knowing that Jesus was on the opposite side of the lake in Philip's domain, decided to call upon Mary to learn what they could of his whereabouts. The arrival of these Jerusalem emissaries greatly perturbed Mary, and noted that the tension and nervousness of the entire family. They concluded that Jesus must have been expected to pay them a visit. Accordingly, they installed themselves in Mary's home, and after summoning reinforcements, waited patiently for Jesus' arrival. And this, of course, effectively prevented any of the family from attempting to keep their appointment with Jesus. Several times during the day, both Jude and Ruth endeavored to elude the vigilance of the Pharisees in their effort to send word to Jesus, but it was of no avail. So when they got to Mary's house and they saw that something was up, they planted themselves in her home, and they wouldn't let anybody leave without somebody following them. So that's why Jesus did not get to see his family once again. And this is a map of the travels during this period of time. All right, Diane.
Early in the afternoon, David's messengers brought Jesus word that the Pharisees were encamped on the doorstep of his mother's house, and therefore he made no attempt to visit his family. And so again, through no fault of either, Jesus and his earth family failed to make contact.
Roger, you're on mute.
I said, would you take the next one, please?
Oh, number 1, the temple tax collector. As Jesus with Andrew and Peter tarried by the lake near the boat shop, a temple tax collector came upon them, and recognizing Jesus, called Peter to one side and said, "Does not your master pay the temple tax?" Peter was inclined to show indignation at the suggestion that Jesus should be expected to contribute to the maintenance of the religious activities of his sworn enemies. But noting a peculiar expression on the face of the tax collector, he rightly surmised that it was the purpose to entrap them in the act of refusing to pay the customary half shekel for the support of the temple services at Jerusalem. Accordingly, Peter replied, "Why, of course, the master pays the temple tax. You wait by the gate, and I will presently return with the tax."
All right, so they suspected they were trying to entrap him. So that's how this whole thing about Peter promising to pay the tax. And here's a little picture of Peter and the tax collector.
Which one's Peter?
On the left,
Yeah.
A little short skirt.
wise old fellow.
I don't think the Peter would have been walking around in those short skirts, do you?
No, I don't.
Can't imagine that.
The one on the left too is
And they both too,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, there's one on the left, yeah, far
that's
left.
weird.
Yeah, that is kind of weird. Well, it's
It was in Los Angeles. That explains it all.
Yeah, San
yeah.
Francisco.
Yeah.
San Francisco, okay.
All right. Rodney, would you take the next one? You got away with something, Gary. When the dog was kissing you, I was going to say no kissing on screen, but
You got to remember, I'm the main person for this dog's life for some reason. And when I come home, I'm here. I get in maybe 5 to 10 minutes, if the max, before I click on.
yeah.
So Coco's
And
anxious.
so she is
Ready for her?
Papa!
Appointment. Yeah.
she's
I'm
ready
here.
for me. Matter of fact, she's sitting on the floor right at my feet. So
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice to be loved.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
All right. Rodney,
Now-
would you take the next one?
Now Peter had spoken hastily. Judas carried their funds, and he was across the lake. Neither he, his brother, nor Jesus had brought along any money. And knowing that the Pharisees were looking for them, they could not well go to Bethsaida to obtain money. When Peter told Jesus about the collector and that he had promised him the money, Jesus said, "If you have promised, then should you pay. But wherewith will you redeem your promise? Will you again become a fisherman, that you may honor your word? Nevertheless, Peter, it is well in the circumstances that we pay the tax. Let us give these men no occasion for offense at our attitude. We will wait here while you go with the boat and cast for the fish. And when you have sold them at yonder market, pay the collector for all three of us."
He
So
must have been very patient.
really. So
you know, it
Jesus-
may have been the part of the culture too.
Yeah.
yeah, could have been. All right, Gary, would you take the next?
Okay. All of these had been overheard. All of this has been overheard by the secret messenger of David, who stood nearby and who then signaled to an associate fishing near the shore to come in quickly. When Peter made ready to go out in the boat for a catch, this messenger and his fisherman friend presented him with several large baskets of fish and assisted him in carrying them to the fish merchant nearby, who purchased the catch, paying sufficient with what was added by the messenger of David to meet the temple tax for the three. I gotta move something here. The collector accepted the tax, foregoing the penalty for tardy payment because they had been for some time absent from Galilee.
Which made no sense because the Sanhedrin was Jesus's enemy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It is not strange that you should have a record of Peter catching a fish with a shekel in its mouth. In those days, there were current many stories, many stories, about finding treasures in the mouths of fishes. Such tales of near miracles were commonplace. So as Peter let them go toward the boat. Jesus remarked half humorously, "Strange that the sons of the king must pay tribute. Usually it is the stranger who is taxed for the upkeep of the court, but it behooves us to afford no stumbling block for the authorities. Go hence, maybe you will catch the fish with the shekel in its mouth." Jesus having thus spoken, and Peter was soon appearing with the temple tax, it is not surprising that the episode became later expanded into the miracle as recorded by the writer of Matthew's gospel. There's a story in Matthew's gospel that he caught a fish with a shekel in his mouth to pay the tax. So it was a miracle, right? All right, Diane.
Jesus with Andrew and Peter waited by the seashore until nearly sundown. Messengers brought them word that Mary's house was still under surveillance. Therefore, when it grew dark, the three waiting men entered their boat and slowly rowed away towards the eastern shore of the Sea of Galilee.
All right, so they rode off at dark because they couldn't get to Mary's house because of the Sanhedrin guards stationed there, right? Oops, it's the wrong thing here. Okay, Pam, would you take the next one?
2 at Bethsaida, Julius. On Monday, August 8th, while Jesus and the 12 apostles were encamped in Magadan Park near Bethsaida, Julius, more than 100 believers, the evangelists, the women corps, and other interests in the establishment of the kingdom came over from Capernaum for a conference. And many of the Pharisees, learning that Jesus was here, came also. By this time, some of the Sadducees were united with the Pharisees in their effort to entrap Jesus. Before going into the closed conference with the believers, Jesus held a public meeting at which the Pharisees were present, and they heckled the master and otherwise sought to disturb the assembly. Said the leader of the disturbers, "Teacher, we would like you to give us a sign of your authority to teach, and then when the same shall come to pass, all men will know that you have been sent by God." And Jesus answered them, "When it is evening, you say it will be a fair weather, for the heaven is red. In the morning, it will be foul weather, for the heaven is red and lowering. When you see a cloud rising in the west, you say showers will come. When the wind blows from the south, you say scorching heat will come. How is it that you so well know how to discern the face of the heavens, but are so utterly unable to discern the signs of the times? To those who would know the truth, already has a sign been given, but to an evil-minded and hypocritical generation, no sign shall be given."
So he's basically saying, open your eyes, you stupid people, right? And look what's going on around you. This is
Roger.
Yeah, yeah.
I wonder how the number 2 got put in to that top sentence. While Jesus and supposed to be and the apostles.
No, it was only 2 of the apostles that were there.
Oh, okay.
To
Okay.
the 12, well, then that next word should be of,
Yeah.
not the.
And I thought they were all.
I didn't write it, I just copied it. So,
Hey, that's.
Hold on a second. I
like
think
that.
I've got your answer, okay?
Yeah, there you
In
go.
the book, the line reads, on Monday, August 8th, while Jesus and the 12 apostles were
12.
encamped.
And
So
and
The
it
it
says, well,
doesn't have the
Jesus
two in there.
and wait a minute, it says Jesus and 12 of the apostles.
And the 12 apostles.
the 12.
And the 12 apostles.
Mhm. Yeah, the two should not be there. It's an error somewhere
Well, it
along.
should be and 12
Yeah.
apostles, not the.
No, it says and the 12 apostles.
And the 12. There we
I've
go.
got the book
Yeah.
right here.
Yeah.
See?
That's right. Except
Yeah.
get rid of the number 1, 2.
Okay. I wonder how that got transposed like
Get
that.
rid of the numerical 12. Because you got
Maybe
12.
Maybe
Oh, yeah, it's
Oh.
double. Okay, I see what you're
12.
maybe AI is just not
There.
that smart in math.
saying. I don't know. Like I said, I just copied it from the book, so
Yeah.
you know, may have been a mistake in my book.
Oh, it might have been late.
It might have been. I might
Yeah.
have been 12 of my apostles.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've read this, right? Okay. Oh, and here's this is
A
what
shekel?
a shekel. Yeah.
Oh.
I don't want to shekel y'all down, but
Very
let you
Uh,
want to see what.
That's cool looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Rodney, I think you're up again.
Okay. When Jesus had thus spoken, he withdrew and prepared for the evening conference with his followers. At this conference, it was decided to undertake a united mission throughout all the cities and villages of the Decapolis as soon as Jesus and the 12 should return from their proposed visit to Caesarea Philippi. The Master participated in planning for the Decapolis mission and, in dismissing the company, said, I say to you, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Be not deceived by their show of much learning and by their profound loyalty to the forms of religion. Be only concerned with the spirit of living truth and the power of true religion. It is not the fear of a dead religion that will save you, but rather your faith in a living experience in the spiritual realities of the kingdom. Do not allow yourselves to become blinded by prejudice and paralyzed by fear. Neither permit reverence for the traditions to pervert your understanding that your eyes see not and your ears hear not. It is not the purpose of true religion merely to bring peace, but rather to ensure progress. And there can be no peace in the heart or progress in the mind unless you fall wholeheartedly in love with truth, the ideals of eternal realities. The issues of life and death are being set before you. The sinful pleasures of time against the righteous realities of eternity. Even now, you should begin to find deliverance from the bondage of fear and doubt as you enter upon the living of the new life of faith and hope. And when the feelings of service for your fellow men arise within your soul, do not stifle them. When the emotions of love for your neighbor well up within your heart, give expression to such urges of affection and intelligent ministry to the real needs of your fellows.
Amen.
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 lot in that paragraph. Let's start at the beginning of this. First, he's telling them not to be deceived by the Pharisees and Sadducees because they appear to be very educated, right? Just because they're educated doesn't necessarily mean they're there for the good of your true religion, right? All right. And he's saying, don't let your previous prejudices and fears paralyze you, okay? Because that's how they controlled the population, is they tried to tell them they knew what was right and nobody else did, right? So that everyone was supposed to follow the law and what they say, right down to the last word, okay? And then he goes on to say, don't let them pervert your understanding of the things your eyes and ears tell you. In other words, use your own mind to make your decisions, right? Um, and then he goes on to tell us there will be no peace in your heart and your mind unless you wholeheartedly love the truth and the ideals of eternal realities, not the realities you see around you, right? It's the eternal realities we have to be concerned with. And he's saying the issues of life and death are set before you. So you have to make a decision with your faith and your hope, and this gives you the feeling of service for your fellow man. And when that feeling of service for your fellow man comes upon you, you need to act upon it, right? To help your fellow man. Intelligently act upon it. Okay?
As far as paralyzed by fear, when I was younger, growing up in the assemblies of God, I was very fearful of going to hell. Hell was something that
Very real to
the
you,
church
wasn't it?
had a control over the
Yeah.
people because of that fear aspect.
Yeah, and the Baptist church was exactly the same way, Rodney, when I was growing up. Matter of fact, the first decisions young people make are often based on that fear of hell. They don't want to die and end up in hell because they didn't make a decision before they died, right?
Yeah.
And that's real common, and that's what Jesus is talking about here. That's not a good way to come to your decision about God.
Right.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Right. Well, there's my picture on my other thing gone down, way down again. It's like this camera is going crazy.
Roger, I just
Yeah.
moved your picture down on my screen. Would that affect yours?
No.
No, no, it shouldn't affect the picture. It's like it just decided to slip. I don't know, maybe slipped. I went the wrong direction.
Yeah, wrong direction.
I guess it doesn't. I can just kill I can just kill that camera right here. Hang on.
Kill that camera.
That's
Yeah.
gonna do it. That's better.
Still picture.
Still a picture, right? Okay, let's go on. Who's up, y'all?
Gary.
Gary.
Would you take the
Okay.
next one?
3, Peter's confession. Early Tuesday morning, Jesus and the 12 apostles left not saying it right,
Magadan,
Magdalene Park for the
Caesarea Philippi.
thank you, the capital of the Tetrarch
Yeah,
Philip's domain. You can say that again.
Caesarea Philippi.
Thank you. Was situated in a region of wondrous beauty. It was nestled in a charming valley between scenic mountains and where the Jordan poured forth from an underground cave. Wow. The heights of Mount Hermon were in full view to the north, while from the hills just to the south, a magnificent view was had of the upper Jordan and the Sea of Galilee. I wonder where that is. I wouldn't mind having
I know. Paints a
you know,
beautiful picture.
Well, we're going to visit Mount Hermon in the next paper, right? It's coming up, so we're going to find out more about that next time. All right. Jesus had gone to Mount Hermon in his early experience with the affairs of the kingdom. And now that he is entering upon the final epic of his work, he desired to return to this mount of trial and triumph, where he hoped the apostles might gain a new vision of their responsibilities and acquire new strength for the trying times just ahead. As they journeyed along the way, about the time of passing south of the waters of Merom, the apostles fell to talking among themselves about the recent experiences in Phoenicia and elsewhere, to recounting how their message had been received and how the different peoples regarded their master.
Hmm.
All right, Diane.
As they paused for lunch, Jesus suddenly confronted the 12 with the first question he had ever addressed to them concerning himself. He asked this a surprising question: who do men say that I am?
Right. So they asked him, he asked him flat out who people said he was, right? All right. Pam.
Jesus had spent long months in training these apostles as to the nature and character of the kingdom of heaven, and he well knew the time had come when he must begin to teach them more about his own nature and his personal relationship to the kingdom. And now, as they were seated under the mulberry trees, the master made ready to hold one of the most momentous sessions of his long association with the chosen apostles.
Okay, you have to divide the master's life up into different sections. Okay, up until the time he was a child, till he was baptized, that was one section, right? Or you could think his adolescence was one and his adulthood was another. After his baptism and teaching the apostles up to this point at Caesarea Philippi, there's a dividing line, because his teaching about himself was basically that he kept trying to convince them that he was not the Messiah, and that he was
Son of
there.
man.
Huh? He was a son of
Son of
man.
man.
He was not the Messiah, and he tried to drill that in their heads, where they never did accept it, did they? Okay. So after Caesarea Philippi, he started to relate to the apostles his real nature, that he was a son of God, and that he was divine, and that he was there to do a bestowal mission. Okay. So this is the dividing line in his life, where he went from trying to teach them one thing to enlightening them of his real identity as a divinity, as the Son of God, and as doing his final bestowal mission. So this was a very important dividing line. And that the reason I want to point that out, when we go on to the next paper, where he takes them up the mountain to them, this becomes very, very obvious, okay, that he is a divine Son of God. Okay, so that's why I wanted to point that out. All right, let's go here. All right, Rodney.
More than half the apostles participated in answering Jesus' question. They told him that he was regarded as a prophet or as an extraordinary man by all who knew him, that even his enemies greatly feared him, accounting for his powers by the indictment that he was in league with the prince of devils. They told him that some in Judea and Samaria, who had not met him personally, believed he was John the Baptist risen from the dead. Peter explained that he had been, at sundry times, and even by various persons, compared with Moses, Elijah, Isaiah, and Jeremiah. When Jesus had listened to this report, he drew himself upon his feet, and looking down upon the 12 sitting about him in a semicircle with startling emphasis, he pointed to them with a sweeping gesture of his hand and asked, "But who say you that I am?" There was a moment of tense silence. The 12 never took their eyes off the Master, and then Simon Peter, springing to his feet, exclaimed, "You are the Deliverer, the Son of the living God." And the 11 sitting apostles arose to their feet with one accord, thereby indicating that Peter had spoken for all of them.
Notice that he said, "You are the deliverer, the Son of the living God." So
Yeah,
he was putting in that he was the Messiah, didn't he?
correctly.
Right. Okay. And the Son of God.
To
He did
deliver
not,
them from.
he was not saying that he was divine at this point. I want to point this out, which they understood this shortly after this. All right. Gary.
When Jesus had reckoned them again to be seated, and while still standing before them, he said, "This has been revealed to you by my Father. The hour has come when you should know the truth about me. But for the time being, I charge you that you tell this to no man. Let us go hence."
What is he talking about here, y'all?
That
He's
he's
going to
saying
read.
that their each individual thought adjuster is speaking to their minds,
Speaking
telling
to,
their minds
that's
this
right.
is the Son of God.
That he is the Son of God and that he is the divinity, right? That's the thing here. They're going to go from understanding that he is not just a human being they call the Messiah that's come to lead the people, right? Now we got to get this concept right to understand what Jesus is talking about during these paragraphs. The concept they had of the Messiah was a human religious and political leader. It was not a son of God. Okay.
However,
So they,
some did believe that the Son of God would come, but
Yeah,
nobody, even the apostles, now cannot understand how God could be within a man.
that's right. Within man and be divine, right?
Yeah,
Not at all. They still just think he's a man but he is a descendant son of God, right? Son of man, son of God. All right.
they
But
were looking
they
for,
will soon understand that he is a divine son of God. In other words, he's not only a son of God, but he's the creator of the local universe, and his mission on earth was the seventh bestowal. Okay. And this is what Jesus will be teaching them this last year he's alive. Okay, so their concept of Jesus will be shifting over this next few months. Okay,
correct.
that's what I want to bring out here. All right.
what you're saying, Roger. In today's times, they looked upon him somewhat as an Ayatollah.
That's
Yes, that's exactly right. They did.
true.
A political leader. He was a religious leader, but he was also supposed to be a political leader, and we know Jesus was not at all, right? Never meant to be. He was never meant to be king. All right. All right, Gary, take the next one.
And so they resumed their journey to Caesarea Philippi, arriving late that evening and stopping at the home of Celsus,
Celsus, yeah.
who was expecting them. The apostles slept little that night. They seemed to sense that a great event in their lives and in the work of the kingdom was transpiring. I wonder if that was the thought adjuster saying, hey,
S-
look,
Something
something's
big's
going to
coming.
happen.
Yeah, something big's going to happen. Y'all pay attention, right? To talk about the kingdom. Since the occasion of Jesus' baptism by John the Baptist and the turning of the water into wine at Cana, the apostles had at various times virtually accepted him as the Messiah. For short periods, some of them had truly believed that he was the expected deliverer. That's what they're talking about, the deliverer. They weren't talking about delivering them from sins, were they? Okay.
Correct.
That's a that is a concept that came up by Paul, all right, not anybody else. All right. So until he came along, that was never part of this deliverer expectation. But hardly would such hope spring up in the hearts, then the master would dash them to pieces by some crushing word or disappointing deed. They had long been in a state of turmoil due to the conflict between the concepts of the expected Messiah, which they held in their minds, and the experience of their extraordinary association with this extraordinary man, which they held in their hearts. So they were in conflict, basically, right? All right, Diane.
It was late forenoon on this Wednesday when the apostles assembled in Celsus' garden for their noontime meal. During most of the night, and since they had arisen that morning, Peter and Simon Philotus had been earnestly laboring with their brethren to bring them all to the point of the wholehearted acceptance of the Master, not merely as the Messiah, but also as the divine Son of the living God. The two Simons were well nigh agreed in their estimate of Jesus, and they labored diligently to bring their brethren around to the full acceptance of their views, while Andrew continued as the director general of the apostolic corps. His brother Simon Peter was becoming increasingly and by common consent the spokesman for the 12.
Roger, you're on mute.
All right. So Andrew was still the leader, but Simon Peter was becoming the spokesperson for all of them, right? All right. And there's a picture. Well, I don't remember off the top of my head. Okay, Rodney.
Okay, I think it's Pam's.
I think I'm up.
Oh, sorry, Pam. I thought you.
Okay.
I'm losing my mind. That's okay. It's
They were
easy to
all
do.
seated in the garden at just about noon when the master appeared. They wore expressions of dignified solemnity, and all arose to their feet as he approached them. Jesus relieved the tension by that friendly and fraternal smile, which was so characteristic of him when he and his followers took themselves or some happening related to themselves too seriously. With a commanding gesture, he indicated that they should be seated. Never again did the 12 greet their master by arising when he came into the presence. They saw that he did not approve of such an outward show of respect.
Okay, so he didn't want them to think of himself so highly, other than they are his brothers, right? Okay. All right. Rodney, now you're up.
After they had partaken of their meal and were engaged in discussing plans for the forthcoming tour of the Decapolis, Jesus suddenly looked up into their faces and said, "Now that a full day has passed since you assented to Simon Peter's declaration regarding the identity of the Son of Man, I would ask you if you still hold to your decision." On hearing this, the 12 stood upon their feet, and Simon Peter, stepping a few paces forward toward Jesus, said, "Yes, Master, we do. We believe that you are the Son of the living God." And Peter sat down with his brethren.
So they let him know they were still convinced he was the Son of God, right? All right, Gary.
Jesus, still standing, then said to the 12, "You are my chosen ambassadors, but I know that in the circumstances you could not entertain this belief as a result of mere human knowledge. This is a revelation of the Spirit of my Father to your innermost souls. And when, therefore, you make this confession by the insight of the Spirit of my Father, which dwells within you, I am led to declare that upon this foundation will I build the brotherhood of the kingdom of heaven. Upon this rock of spiritual reality will I build the living temple of spiritual fellowship in the eternal realities of my Father's kingdom. All the forces of evil and the hosts of sin shall not prevail against this human fraternity of the divine spirit. And while my Father's spirit shall ever be the divine guide and mentor of all who enter the bonds of the spirit fellowship, to you and your successors, I now deliver the keys of the outward kingdom, the authority over things temporal, the social and economic features of this association of men and women as followers of the kingdom. And again, he charged them for the time being that they should tell no man that he was the Son of God.
Okay, so he revealed to him that he's the Son of God, but I have a issue in this paragraph that we have to address. Okay,
What's that?
y'all are not going to like this. Jesus says here, I am led to declare that upon the foundation I will build the brotherhood of the kingdom of heaven. You see that?
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Upon this rock, a spiritual reality, I will build the living temple of the fellowship of the eternal realities of the Father's kingdom. Do you see Peter's name in there?
No.
No,
No.
So Jesus never said, Peter, you are the rock, and upon this rock I will build my church.
Correct.
Okay?
I was thinking of that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to point out. He didn't say that, did he? He didn't say he was going to build a church on the rock of Peter. He said, I will build the foundations of the brotherhood of the kingdom of heaven. Of what? On what? This fellowship.
Mhm.
Spiritual fellowship.
Spiritual fellowship,
A living temple.
a living temple of spiritual fellowship. And this spiritual fellowship is what he was talking about. He's delivering the outward kingdom to, and the keys to the kingdom of heaven. Y'all catch that?
Yeah.
Big difference than what is in the New Testament, isn't it?
Yes.
I also think that in the sentence it says, and while my Father's Spirit shall ever be the divine guide and mentor of all who enter these bonds of the spiritual fellowship, I think he's talking about the thought adjuster. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah, he's talking about the thought adjuster, and the spiritual fellowship he's talking about is the believers in the kingdom. Okay?
Such
And
as us.
such as us, and the authority over everything temporal, all the economic thing, and everything else that became the church. He delivered those kings to the fellowship itself. And the fellowship itself is not decided by priests or churches or anything else. Okay? That's the point I want to make here. So all those who are believers are part of this. Make sense?
Yes.
Big difference of what we believe, right? So this is a revelation to them, first that he is the Son of God, but he's delivering the right of fellowship and the right of this organization to the group of believers right now, right?
Yes.
Okay. I know I beat that to death, but I think it's important we know the difference because the church should not have been built on the priesthood of Peter. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
Let
The
me
Catholic Church,
explain where I'm coming from, and you can tell me where I'm wrong. Because the church has followed the uh, teachings of Paul,
Yes.
who in my opinion was not an apostle, but what
Well,
do I?
it's self-proclaimed. We got thousands and thousands and thousands of these self-proclaimed apostles all over the world, Gary. I mean, I wish I was talking to Diane about this before our meeting tonight. I have 5,000 followers on Facebook, and half of them are apostles and reverends and that sort of thing from all over the world. Okay. And so just because someone calls themselves an apostle or a reverend or whatever a priest or whatever you want to be called, brother, or does not necessarily mean that they follow the beliefs or systems of Jesus 100%.
it's true.
You can't blame everything that happens in organizations on individuals. That the whole, in other words, you might have some bad apples in there, and you can't discount the whole basket because you got a couple bad apples. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But getting back to what you were saying, Gary, the Catholic Church started the priesthood from Peter. And it passed down, the Catholic Church passed down from Peter. He was the first priest, right? According to the Catholic Church. And then all of them came after that, and that was at the instigation of Paul. You follow me? Okay. Just church history. All right. Gary? I think you're up next.
He just read.
Oh, did he? Well, I'm up next then.
No, well, maybe I did. Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus was beginning to have faith in the loyalty and integrity of his apostles. The master conceived that a faith which would stand what his chosen representatives had recently passed through would undoubtedly endure the fiery trials which were just ahead and emerge from the apparent wreckage of all their hopes into the new light of a new dispensation, and thereby be able to go forth to enlighten the world setting in darkness. On this day, the master began to believe in the faith of his apostles, save one. Okay. So he knew they were developing the faith that would last him after he was gone, and that after the persecutions that was coming.
Yeah.
All right, Diane.
And ever since that day, this same Jesus has been building that living temple upon that same eternal foundation of his divine sonship. And those who thereby become self-conscious sons of God are the human stones which constitute this living temple of sonship, erecting to the glory and honor of the wisdom and love of the eternal Father of spirits.
Uh,
Okay, again, right here it says the divine sonship, who's hereby became self-conscious sons of God. They realized they are sons of God, didn't they? And they are the what?
human stone.
Stones.
Human stones, which constitute the temple, constitute the living temple, not a temple made of anything else, but they become the human stones which creates the temple of the glory and God and wisdom of God of the Father himself.
Yeah.
See that? It's not the church, it's the temple, which is a aggravation of the living human beings that understand their divine consciousness. All right, Pam.
And when Jesus had thus spoken, he directed the 12 to go apart by themselves in the hills to seek wisdom, strength, and spiritual guidance until the time of the evening meal. And they did as the master admonished them.
All right. So they took a break and went and ate. Give me a second. Yeah, I have to think about this.
Mhm.
It is quite long, Roger.
Got
I
10
know, and I'm thinking that I don't want to get in the middle of this very important thing that Jesus is going to bring up here,
Mm.
this new concept,
Mhm.
because it ties right into the rest of them. We won't get through it at 6:49 now.
Okay.
So I think what I'd like to do is stop here and take this up on number 5 next time, because that'll give us, that's about halfway through it. There's 56 slides and this is 33. I don't want to rush through what Jesus is fixing to say by no stretch of the imagination. That defeats the purpose of studying this the way we're doing it. So let's break it off tonight right here. Let's read this one paragraph and we're going to come back and read it again next time, okay? Because I want to set this up for next time. All right.
Mhm.
So who's up? Rodney, I think you're up, aren't you? Or is Pam up?
Oh, she just.
I think it's Rodney, isn't it?
Rodney. Okay. Rodney,
Okay.
would you take this first paragraph?
5. The new
Yeah.
concept. The new and vital feature of Peter's confession was the clear-cut recognition that Jesus was the Son of God, of his unquestioned divinity. Ever since his baptism and the wedding at Cana, these apostles have variously regarded him as the Messiah. But it was not a part of the Jewish concept of the national deliverer that he should be divine. The Jews had not taught that the Messiah would spring forth from divinity. He was to be the anointed one, but hardly had they contemplated him as being the Son of God. In the second confession, more emphasis was placed upon the combined nature, the supernal fact that he was the Son of Man and the Son of God. And it was upon this great truth of the union of the human nature with the divine nature that Jesus declared that he would build the kingdom of heaven.
Now, this paragraph breaks up exactly the difference between the Messiah concept that the Jews held and of the national deliverer, and the difference between what Jesus is, being the divine Son of God, creator of our local universe, and that the apostles were starting to understand that he sprang from divinity, and the Messiah was not supposed to spring from divinity. He was supposed to be a human being that was anointed for the job.
Political leader.
A political leader. That's right. All right. But none of them contemplated the Messiah as being the Son of God. Okay. And that's a big point. Okay. So what I want to bring this back to is this: when Jesus stood before the Sanhedrin, what did he say? I am the Son of God, didn't he? Son of the living God. All right. So he admitted to them that he was exactly what he was.
Yeah.
All right. So that's a big difference. All right. And that point is what he was going to build the kingdom of heaven upon. All right. And I'm going to stop right there for tonight. And we're going to go back over this a little bit next time when we go forward, because Jesus has got some stuff to say in this section that's really good.
Yeah.
A couple sections. All right. So let me stop the share and bring up the other one. There we go. All right, Pam, who's up tonight?
Diane.
Diane, your turn. Okay.
Come on down.
Prayer of acceptance. I believe that God is my paradise Father, and that only by faith am I saved. No sacrifice is necessary. By this same faith, I became a child of God and know that all men and women are my brothers and sisters. We know the Son of God, the sovereign of our universe of Nebadon, as Christ Michael, Jesus of Nazareth. By allowing the will of God to become my will, I will someday stand in the presence of the Paradise Father. In the name of Christ Michael, Jesus of Nazareth. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. You know, Roger, I got to give you credit. You named this thing the prayer of acceptance. And as we was going through it, I understand that it was exactly that. We are accepting God as the Son of Man, recognizing him as God and the Son of Man. I mean, it says a lot in a short period of time, and it is exactly what we're doing, accepting him as such. I was always thought it was misnamed, but you are right and I'm wrong. And you'll never hear me say that again, maybe.
Roger, you're muted.
Yeah.
Roger.
I got it. It is not that you were wrong. It's just that we were trying to come up with something to express how we feel about this book, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we were trying to come up with something that we can give other people an opportunity to join us. So it's kind of like an invitation in the Baptist church, right? It gives you words to say that say, yeah, I accept that this is true. I accept this is a revelation. I accept that Jesus come to fulfill his mission as the Son of God and that he's the creator of our local universe. And by believing these things, we're guaranteed that we will wake up on the mansion worlds. And that's a big thing. Yeah. Pam?
And I think that by us decreeing this, it will pronounce into our space.
Yes. Yeah. I hope it does. Anyway, I didn't want to, I was real hesitant even setting this thing up to set because we used to just have prayers at the beginning and the end and stuff. And it's just that we're trying to lead other people to the revelation of
Yes.
what we have learned. And this is a way to lead people to God. This is a way to lead people to the revelation. And that's that's why we call it a prayer of acceptance. It's
Yeah.
accepting what we believe.
It's very simple.
It's simple, as simple as
Yeah.
possible anyway, I hope.
Yes.
So hopefully it helps other people, and that's our whole point. Let me mention something too, since we got 3 minutes left. I want to do a clarification really quick. I finished the 4 books, actually 5 books. The 2 of them are the same, but it's 5 books, and put them out there online under drrogerpaul.com. And I feel like I'm done writing at this point, unless I write something about the Caligaster 500 and Adam and Eve or something like that. But I feel like my job is done as far as writing right now. And I don't want people to get the impression I put this stuff up to do a me thing. That's not what these are for. These books were to help understand the Urantia book. That's their whole purpose, right? These books came about because of y'all in this group. These books all came from our meetings. Every single chapter in all these books are from a different meeting that we had, and I just restated the meeting in essence, right? So these books out there are for explanation to help understand the Urantia book, and that's why I put them out there. I don't expect people to think I'm some kind of big author or anything like that because I don't think of myself that way, right? These are just teaching aids. And I hope people take them that way, and I hope people use them. That's why they're out there. So,
Of course.
yeah. And I have changed my Facebook page and put the books at the top and stuff. So I want them accessible for as many people as I can make them that way. And it's not me I'm trying to publicize, it's the books. The
Yeah.
only reason my face is there is so people know where it comes from. That's it.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Just wanted to make that
Great.
clarification. So, and Gary, while I'm thinking about it, did you get your copies of the books, the links I sent you, the updated links?
I think so. I've been home for
Hadn't checked it out
5
yet.
minutes
Well,
before
the
I
new
came on.
links, should work because I figured out what it was. Some of the titles of the books had spaces in them, and the server that these things are on does not like
Recognize.
spaces in the names.
Hmm.
So I had to go back through and change all the names. So that's why I did that. Anyway,
Okay, cool.
it's a
Did
Unix server.
anybody
It's
else
not a
have the
Windows.
same problem?
And yeah, somebody else wrote me too. So I sent the new links out to everybody. And you'll know they're the new links because in blue on the email, they'll be blue all the way through the link. On the ones that you let me know about, it went halfway through and parts of where the names of the books were turned back black instead of blue. So they weren't a link anymore. So, and that's Unix. It doesn't like spaces and names and stuff. So never has. Even though Microsoft's been trying to convince us we can use spaces and names, it doesn't like it. So you figure these things out as you go. That's what life's about, right?
Thank you so much. We'll see you on Thursday.
Okay, see everybody on Thursday. We got it ready at 7.